Students, we're back and we are looking at 2.02. So we're just going to go ahead and click on the lesson and read along. Today our goals are to use translate mode to move an object, use scale mode to resize and stretch an object, use rotate mode to spin an object, translate, scale, and rotate on different axes. 3D Transform Manipulator. If Blender is already open, you can skip this screen. Great, I've already got Suzanne open. 3D Transform Manipulator. To make it easy to edit 3D objects, Blender uses the 3D Transform Manipulator. Unless it's turned off, it will appear at the center of any object that you select. The 3D Transform Manipulator lets you move, spin, and resize objects. Great, let's watch this video.
In this screen, I am going to show you how to turn on the 3D Transform Manipulator button. Make sure you are in Object Mode. If not, press the Tab key. Left-click the Use 3D Transform Manipulator button to turn it on.
Apparently, you turned off the 3D Transform Manipulator earlier in 2.01 so that you wouldn't accidentally change anything. So that's that. The 3D Transform Manipulator modes. The 3D Transformer Manipulator has 3 different modes: translate, scale, and rotate. Click the buttons to see what each mode allows you to do to your 3D object. So translate mode lets you move objects around. No matter how much you move it, the object will always face the same direction. Scale mode lets you make an object larger or smaller, and rotate mode lets you spin an object. However, instead of straight lines, you will see circles. Move Suzanne. Complete the steps below to move Suzanne using the translate mode of the 3D Transform Manipulator. Make sure you're in object mode. Make sure Suzanne is still outlined in yellow. Right-click to select her if not. And here we go. Let's watch the video.
In this screen, I am going to show you how to move Suzanne. Make sure you are in Object Mode. If not, press the Tab key to switch to Object Mode. Make sure Suzanne is still outlined in yellow. If not, right-click to select her. Left-click the Translate Manipulator Mode button. Left-click inside the 3D Transform Manipulator and move the mouse to move Suzanne. Left-click to stop moving Suzanne.
Okay, so when I do that, I click here and I try to move, nothing happens. When I right-click, I can actually move Suzanne all around. And if I right-click again, she comes and snaps right back to center. I can right-click and move her around, and left-click and she'll stay where I put her. I can hit Control-Z and it'll undo what I did and bring her back to the center. If I'm like, what did I do? Just hit Control-Z. Oh, and look at that. The next unit talks about the undo command. Blender is a complicated program and it's easy to make mistakes. If you make a change that you don't like, you can undo the last thing you did by pressing Control+Z. This is much easier than deleting everything and starting over. Caution, Blender will only let you undo your last 32 changes. So you can't use undo to fix everything you did in a project, but pretty close. Undo a change. So I think you guys have probably used undo before if you're in this class. Let's hope so, right? Let's check out this video.
In this screen, I am going to show you how to move along one axis. Left-click the 3D Transform Manipulator's green arrow and move the mouse. This moves Suzanne along the y-axis. Left-click to stop moving Suzanne. You can move Suzanne along any axis by clicking just that arrow instead of inside the circle.
Okay, I didn't have any problem at all doing that. So Control Z and bring it back to center. Make Suzanne larger. Complete the steps below to scale Suzanne. Let's watch the video.
In this screen, I am going to show you how to make Suzanne larger. Right-click Suzanne to select her if she is not already selected. Check that the 3D Transform Manipulator button is turned on. Left-click the Scale Manipulator Mode button. Left-click inside the 3D Transform Manipulator. Press the S key and move the mouse slowly outward. As you move the mouse outward, Suzanne will get larger. Be careful when moving your mouse so that you do not cause Suzanne to flip over. Left-click to stop scaling. You can press Ctrl+C to undo your last move.
This one worked like a charm for me. Just go ahead and click on that. Click on the canvas. Hold down the S and move my mouse. So it worked. And then I can click to make it stop and Control Z to bring it back to where it was originally. Stretch in one direction. Just like moving, you can scale in just one direction. Complete the steps. Let's watch the video.
In this screen, I am going to show you how to stretch in one direction. To scale Suzanne along the y-axis, left-click the green box and move the mouse. Left-click again to stop scaling. You can scale Suzanne along any axis by clicking the green, blue, or red square. Press Ctrl+C to undo any mistakes. You may need to press it more than once to get the object back to how you want it.
That one seems to be working for me. Woo! Woo! Rotate an object. Complete the steps below to rotate Suzanne. Watch the video.
In this screen, I am going to show you how to rotate an object. Check that you are in object mode. If not, press the Tab key to switch to object mode. Press Num1 to return to the front view. Make sure Suzanne is still outlined in yellow. If not, right-click to select her. Left-click the Rotate Manipulator Mode button. The button looks like an arrow pointing to the left. Left-click the outer white line of the 3D Transform Manipulator. Move your mouse to rotate. Left-click when you are done. Press and hold the middle mouse button to pan around Suzanne.
Okay, this one works for me too. Oh yeah, I had to right-click on her. Okay, so I just grab that, drag it around, hold down my middle mouse button, rotate it around. I wonder if I can get it to do, remember how we were trying to get it to rotate around her head differently? Yeah. Oh well. So to get back to where you were, you can just hit Control Z, right? And then hit 7. And you'll be right back. I'm just scrolling to zoom back out. Rotate around one axis.
In this screen, I am going to show you how to rotate around one axis. Left-click the outer white line again and move the mouse. The object will spin around your new point of view. Left-click when you're done. If you can't see the blue line, use the scroll wheel or the middle mouse button to rotate your view until you can see all 3 lines. Inside the 3D Transform Manipulator, left-click the blue line and move the mouse right and left to rotate Suzanne along the Z-axis left-click to stop rotating. Inside the 3D Transform Manipulator, left-click the red line and move the mouse to rotate Suzanne along the X-axis. To rotate Suzanne along the Y-axis, left-click the green line and move the mouse. Left-click again to stop rotating. Press Ctrl+C to undo any mistakes. You may need to press it more than once to get the object back to how you want it.
All right, let's see if it works. So my goal is to be able to grab this green one. Yeah, it just does not, I don't know why, but it does not want to rotate around that Y-axis for me. Snap it by hitting 7. I had to undo a couple of times and then hit 7 to get back to this view. And I'm going to scroll. She had said we could do the scroll, but I think I'm going to have to hold my mouse down. There we go. And let's see. It's not working for me, but that might be because I'm making a video. Sometimes some things won't work the way that they're supposed to. So my Blender isn't quite doing what I want, so I just shut it down and I'm opening it back up, and I'm going to open up my Suzanne folder again. You might have to do this. Like I said, this program uses a lot of RAM, so I'm going File, Open. I'm going to open up Suzanne. I never work directly in Suzanne. I always save her as something else, so I have my original to go back to every time. I'll double click on that one. So the file says Suzanne 11.5. So I'm not working in the real thing. I want to go into this transformation manipulator, the rotate tool. If you hover your cursor over, it'll tell you what it is. I'm holding down my middle mouse button so I can see all three. I can click on the white one and make it work, but I'm not having any trouble clicking. Well, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, those aren't working for me. Oh well. Hopefully those aren't going to be issues later on. If they are, students, stuff like this just happens, unfortunately. Just do your best to work around these types of things, okay?